Hey guys, so it's been a while since I posted a YouTube video. It's actually been a year exactly. I'm trying to get this out on Sunday, so hopefully it's uploading then, which will have been 1 year since my last YouTube video. So if you read the title, chances are you probably already follow me if you're seeing this video, but if for some reason you came across this video, you've read the title, so this is going to be about what it's like as an artist to have periods of going viral on TikTok and what that can bring and do to your life. So I'm just going to hop in and talk about kind of my journey online as an artist. I started posting in 2014 on Tumblr, which we all know kind of what happened there. So in 2015, I think that was when I started posting on Instagram and Twitter. And as of June 2021, I had just hit about 600 followers on Instagram, and I think I had right under 300 on Twitter, so that was after about 7 or 6 years of posting on those platforms. That was kind of the only growth that I had had, so I was a small artist for all of those years, and I think every artist that posts online can relate to the feeling of what ends up happening when you tie your self-worth and validity as an artist to the amount of engagement that you're receiving. I think everyone has experienced this, and I know that for me, by 2019, I was really, really over it. I was really burnt out on the idea of trying to appease other people or the algorithm, and sorry, my voice is like kind of not good today. In 2019, I ended up having kind of this breakthrough actually, ironically, in June. I saw Rocketman, and for some reason, that movie just like spoke to my soul, and kind of I had this like epiphany about what I wanted to do and be, and this was around the time when my love for the 60s and 70s and my love for horror were kind of coming back into my life and becoming a huge part of my life. And it was at that point that I had been through a couple of years of really hating my art, and that's such a sad feeling to have. If we take social media out of it, you know, we're all artists, and what we do, it has value solely because it comes from us, and I think we forget that because we're so caught up in wanting, you know, online attention, which isn't bad or anything, but it's bad when that becomes the sole thing that's validating us as artists. But as I was getting back into these things, and as I was kind of coming off these few years of hating my art, I was like, I'm ready to go on a journey of self-love where I don't get my happiness and validity from the internet anymore. And I completely scrapped any idea of making art that wasn't super self-indulgent and for me, which means drawing more of my OCs, drawing more of like what I really want to draw. And that's what I did starting in 2019. I was completely just drawing with just pure joy and drawing just what I wanted to draw, which was like creepy dudes and things like that. But it made me really happy, and I was in a really good place with how I felt about myself and my art. I truly didn't care anymore about online engagement. I wasn't seeking it. That wasn't a goal anymore, which I don't know if a lot of artists feel that way, and it makes me really sad because being in that place is honestly really awesome. And I know it's kind of hard when you want to make money, which is also what I wanted to do. I had an Etsy, but you know, having a day job and everything, it kind of just, I was like, I need to just create for a while without worrying so much about trying to make money off of it. And obviously, that's not something everyone can do, but I think that there's something a little bit radical in reclaiming where you're getting your self-worth and validity from as an artist, and it should be from yourself. And getting engagement from just like your core friends has always been so much more fulfilling and and brought me more happiness. There's just something really insidious about tying your self-worth to whether or not the heart on Twitter says 1,000 next to it. But that's a journey for everyone, and I encourage everyone to take that journey. It's hard. It's not easy. We're not encouraged to take it. We're encouraged to churn out work and post it and appease the algorithm. And it's really hard to take a step back and find what you love about your art. So by 2020, I was in love with my art, in love with my style, in love with the medium I'm using. It felt good to make art again. And I want that for everyone. So when I preach that, just know that I did all of that work before I had any following on like TikTok. And I wanted to preface this video with all of that because that kind of has a lot to do with how my TikTok journey has gone. So when it comes to when I finally decided to make a TikTok, I had a TikTok account in fall and winter of 2020, and it was not good for me. That app is such a never-ending hellhole. It can be really, really amazing, but it can be equally really, really horrible, and it can affect your self-esteem if you're not careful, and it can just get in your head. There's a lot of people talking about their trauma on there, talking about just like a lot of horrible things on there, doing really stupid trends where suddenly people are concerned about the way they look when they walk. It's just things like that made it a really unhealthy app for me to be on. So I deleted it in winter 2020, and in June 2021, I remember my twin came in my room and was like, I'm thinking about making a TikTok just to post my art. And I was like, I don't know if I should do that. I don't know if that would be healthy for me to do. And I kind of talked to myself and I was like, okay, listen, you already started making Instagram reels. Side note, I'm recording in my basement. My cats are running upstairs like horses, and I don't know if you can hear them, so apologies in advance if you can hear like thunderous footsteps. That's my little kitty cats. So anyway, I kind of talked to myself and I was like, okay, you're already making Instagram reels. Just download the reels and just cross-post them to TikTok and post them, leave, and maybe you'll get a couple more followers from it. Maybe, you'll get some traction on your Etsy. It wasn't anything serious. It was more just like, that was my way of healthily joining TikTok again. That May, I had released my 60s Pride button collection. There were only 9 buttons at the time. If you take a look at my Etsy, there's 21 options now. And every June I run a fundraiser. So I was like, let me cross-post all the videos I have on my Instagram reels. And so that was kind of my thought process. Was I wasn't deliberately creating videos for TikTok or thinking about how I was going to film them. It was just whatever I had at the time, which was art time lapses, and I had a video showing off my buttons. So that was what I posted on TikTok to begin with. Nowadays, the videos that I make, I do a lot of filming my painting process. I'll film little clips here and there. Every now and then I'll do a time lapse. I'll show off the products that I have in my store. It's a lot of repetitive videos. TikTok does seem to like repetition. And what's really underrated about TikTok is TikTok gives old work new life, in the sense that I can just share a video of me flipping through my old paintings and it can get a lot of attention, and that's something that does not happen on other apps. And so I will give it that a lot of times if I'm really tired and I haven't been making a lot of art, I can just share old stuff and that works just as well on the app. And now I do create videos specifically for TikTok that I then cross-post to Instagram, so it kind of became the opposite. But I'll talk about which videos took off and what happened when they went viral. So the first video of mine that went viral, so it was June 26th, I started cross-posting just pretty much everything that I mentioned, including my buttons video. And when I posted that, it was about June 29th to the 30th that it just went viral for some reason. It got about 40,000 views, and that translated into 100 orders in a day, which has never happened again. I've had similar views on those kinds of videos, but it's never translated to that kind of order volume again. So I don't know if that was like a one-hit wonder type deal. I hope not. You know, you're always kind of waiting for the next video like that to happen. But that one blew up and I got 100 orders, and you have to understand, like I mentioned, I had 600 followers on Instagram. I had nothing on Twitter. I still have like nothing on Twitter. Twitter keeps me humble, but on Instagram I had like nothing. I remember that earlier that June I had 20 orders within like a 9-day span when I was on vacation, and I was like, oh my god, this is crazy. And I had gotten like 2,000 views on a reel, and I was scared. Like I remember I put on my private story that I was scared of that amount of views. So when this video got 40,000, I got about 4,000 followers in a week. Extremely scary. I didn't even know how to process it, except all I knew was I have to fulfill these orders now. So I kind of had to put how I was feeling on the back burner for a second so I could fulfill all of these orders, and it was really fun. My back hurt like crazy because I did not have a system in place. I did not have a thermal label printer, so I was cutting and taping all of the labels, and I did that for way too long. I think I sent out like nearly 500 orders that way, which that was I needed it to get it sooner, but that's okay. So it was a lot of work, and while I was dealing with that, the video that I posted of my character who I'm drawing here, who I'll explain in a bit, also took off. So it was the simultaneous. I have my store blowing up, and I have like my creative original character work blowing up. And what ended up happening with Etsy is, with all of those orders, I guess Etsy's algorithm pushed my buttons to the front, and I ended up sustaining this wave of orders for about like 5 solid months. I would pretty much do almost like 200 orders a month, and that was all because of that 100-day order day, and that was just something I was not prepared for or expecting with Etsy. So I got the orders under control. It completely took over my summer, but it was really fun and really rewarding, and obviously, of course, like a dream come true. But it was a crazy time. It was really memorable. I was running around just all summer doing orders. August was an amazing month for that. And then over time, I have a hard time keeping the momentum going, so I kind of wasn't promoting as much or creating new products. So over time that dropped, and I've had a couple good months recently. I haven't had like a bad month per se, especially not for just like what's organically happening on my Etsy, but definitely nowhere near what happened in those first couple of months. And that's kind of the name of the game with it. So while I was getting the orders under control, my character that I posted onto TikTok started blowing up himself, who I'm drawing here, so I'll explain a little bit about that if you're new. This is my character Redford Wild. He is a serial killer from the 70s. He's part of a story of mine that is about him and his best friend Erie. She's a criminology student at first, and then later an FBI agent, and she's the one that stops him. And the story is primarily about her and her complex feelings throughout the journey of their relationship, which is a span of 10 years. So it's a pretty dark story, obviously. What you're seeing on the screen here is kind of the extent of what I tend to draw with him with my illustrations. When I make my TikToks with my paintings, I kind of just summarize the story and his story. He ends up getting caught by her, he gets the death penalty. There's a lot in between, but at the end he does die. I'm not considering that a spoiler. There's so much more to the story than that. But that's just kind of what happens to him. So when I make these videos, I tend to just summarize the story over and over again. And so when I posted him, I gave a couple of details, and immediately it was blowing up and people had questions and people were really supportive. And I was not used to that at all. I actually used to be very uncomfortable with sharing my OCs, so I didn't do it for years and years and years until I started, maybe about 2019, I started sharing more of my characters. And so when you share I don't want to call it controversial, but when you share characters who are, I guess we could just say controversial because I can't come up with another word, who are villainous, who are not good people, who are from stories that are a little dark, and you share that on a platform like TikTok, which is not a platform where you're going to find a niche community per se, because TikTok will just show your video to whoever, whenever. You get people who don't understand what you're doing, don't like what you're doing, and they will tell you. And I will say the response on TikTok has been 90% good. It's been wonderful. It's been a blessing. And, when I gave my spiel about all that work that I did to give my own self-worth and validity to my own art, I always said, if I were to ever gain following or traction or anything like that, I would see it as a bonus. It would not be something I needed. It would just be a really, really nice bonus. And that is how I feel about TikTok. And TikTok has been, for the most part, a wonderful bonus. Having people come follow me on Instagram, where I'm a lot more active and engaging, has been a huge bonus to me. I do like it. I do love that people love my stuff, but it's been just a bonus for me. And I'm really grateful that I have that kind of mantra in my head, because it's given me the chance to come at the response on TikTok from a stronger, healthier, stabler way. Because if I had that, I think I would be I don't know if I would be very swayed by people's opinions on TikTok, but I think it would bother me probably a lot more if I wasn't the kind of person that really loved my own stuff on my own. Like, I don't need anyone to tell me that I'm good, or that what I'm doing is great, or that I don't need people to like my stuff for me to like it. You know what I mean? So TikTok seems to know when I post Redford, and as he was getting a lot of views, he'd kind of go through periods where I get a lot of comments, mostly good, and there was one moment in particular in August where a video blew up, and again, it's a video where I'm just summarizing the story as always, and it must have just ended up on the wrong side of TikTok or something, because the takes were as far as the eye could see. It was very similar to this drawing I'm doing right now. There was blood on his arms. He was holding a newspaper up that detailed, what he had done. And I got lots of comments. Some were good. Probably half of them were questionable or just outright mean, which is something I had never experienced before. And that's why I'm grateful that I am older. I'm 27. When it happened, I was still 27. Yeah, I was still 27 when it happened. And I had also done a lot of work on myself, so I'm really glad that I did all of that and that I was older when my stuff blew up, because if I was younger, I don't know how it would have affected me so much, which is just another reason I encourage you to find some resolve within yourself about your own art, because people might not like it, and the important thing is that you do. I was seeing takes like, someone had a problem with me writing a story about somebody who murders people, and I was like, well, I'm really inspired by Hannibal Lecter, Norman Bates, Patrick Bateman. I'm a huge horror fan, so all of those are inspirations. And they were like, yeah, I have a problem with those too. And that was the moment that I was like, okay, you're not going to get anywhere on TikTok. TikTok is where nuance goes to die. TikTok is not a place to have conversations in the comment section because it's got very limited characters. It's not a good place to try to convince anybody of anything. And frankly, there's a lot of chronically online behavior. Not always, not all criticism is chronically online, but to have a problem with the horror genre in general, listen, if it's not for you, it's not for you, and that's totally fine. But people are allowed to like that kind of stuff, make that kind of stuff, and engage with that kind of stuff. And you are free to not like me or like what I'm doing, but I don't always have to hear it, you know what I mean? So that video kind of went crazy. The comments were I ended up having to delete a lot of the threads, which isn't something I like to do, but people started fighting with each other and being mean to each other, about each other. It was so out of hand, and it was so bonkers to me as an artist, because I'm sitting here I draw disembodied blood on a dude's arms, and there's gore artists. There's horror artists who are drawing the freakiest stuff you've ever seen on Twitter. Have you seen horror Twitter? It's scary out there. And I'm over here drawing a man with blood on his arms. Where did it come from? No one knows. And it caused, you would think that I was doing something real bad, you know what I mean? Based on the response. Like I said, it must have just ended up on some side of TikTok that I don't ever want to be on again. So that is something that can happen to you on TikTok, and it might not even be because you're drawing horror art. People have issue with could have issue with anything you're drawing, any innocent thing, the way you draw, the medium you're using. People can have an issue just with anything, and that is why I really encourage you to do the work within yourself, to have a strong foundation to fall back on, because people like to act like negative comments shouldn't affect you, blah blah blah, but they do. It sucks to have people being mean to you and yelling at you. It's scary. And for me, I seem to go through periods where I won't get a lot of mean messages, and I've actually had to put in a lot of measures in place on my TikTok and other accounts to mitigate that from happening. And you kind of learn along the way how to protect yourself. But for me, I would say the last period where I had some questionable comments was probably around February. I had a video blow up, got like over 200,000 views, craziness. But for the most part, the comments were all nice, which was an interesting change of pace from the last time, because the last time that video didn't even get that many views, but I just must have ended up in a better place, or I'm really finding my people on there. And I will say the last month or so, with posting things with this character, has been 99.5% good, which is really nice. So something that's kind of funny though is I posted a Redford video probably in May. I think it was in May. Or early June, I don't remember time anymore, and like I said, I get these kinds of messages publicly on my TikTok. People are not afraid to just be mean to you, and I was checking my Tumblr, which I'm not very active on. I'm trying to change that, but I'm not very active on, and I realized I hadn't checked my inbox, and I had some anon hate, and I'm not going to share what it said, because I didn't give that person attention then, and I don't want to do it now, but obviously I'm talking about it, so maybe that defeats the purpose. But it was such an unhinged take that you just kind of have to laugh at it sometimes. And what I'll say is sometimes it does suck, and it doesn't feel good, and sometimes it does feel scary, especially as somebody who, a year ago, I didn't have all this. I didn't have attention on my art. I didn't have people that were interested in it, and I certainly didn't have people who didn't like it or didn't like me who were telling me that. I've kind of had to learn suddenly on the fly how to process hate comments, and that's why I said I'm kind of glad that I was older when it happened, because it still sucks, but there's a level of I know myself now. I'm older, my brain's developed, I know myself, I can ground myself, but sometimes it does just suck. It sucks when people are mean to you, and I'm not gonna come on here and act like hate comments don't ever bother me. They do. They suck to get. Sometimes they're as easy as deleting them and moving on. Sometimes they scare me a little bit. It can be scary to be very visible. And I was someone who slipped under the radar. I'm pretty introverted. I had already decided that I didn't care or want that kind of attention, and then I ended up getting it. So sometimes it feels really, really scary. It feels like there's a spotlight on my back sometimes. But, I will say for the majority, it's been amazing, and it has been wonderful and life-changing. I did some conventions, people came up to me and they knew my stuff, which is it's hard because it's this is my childhood dream come true, but my adult dream was no longer that. So it's there's this part of me that's yes, oh my god, it happened, I can't believe it, this is so surreal. And then there's the other part of me that's okay, well, it's not really what I was trying for anymore, but I guess we're here now. So it's there's these two sides of me, that one side really, really is enjoying it and feels really good about it, and then there's another side of me that is sometimes a little scared by it. And I don't know if that's a relatable feeling to anybody else online who has a following, because I think for a lot of people that's what they're trying to get. So when they get it, they must enjoy it or something. But for me, it's been like a weird, like, I wasn't trying and now here it is. And I wouldn't trade it. I like having it. It's been a surreal, wild, fun journey. But, you know, there's moments sometimes where it feels a little nerve-wracking, and I just wanted to be honest about that. You know, I've had moments of burnout, and I kind of always experienced that. You know, I had a lot of burnout from the shop, which I think is an understandable level of burnout. And I had some burnout socially because I used to have, you know, my DMs were pretty open. Like on my Instagram story, you could DM me straight from my story. I never had DMs open on TikTok because that just sounds like opening up the opportunity for the most unhinged DMs. But I ended up closing that off on Instagram and doing a lot more to not feel as compelled to respond to everybody. Which is hard because I naturally like to talk to people and have them be seen and stuff, but I had to figure out how I was going to deal with the social interaction. And I will say the measures I put in place have made it a lot easier. I'm not as overwhelmed anymore. And when that's happening to you, you just kind of have to learn along the way, what can I do to like save myself a little bit. And you have to be really honest with yourself and be able to talk to yourself about how you're feeling and kind of make those hard decisions sometimes to not allow that access to you, which is something I've had to do. You know, like I said, it's all been on the fly, learning and dealing with all of this. And that's kind of how it's been to blow up on TikTok and what's kind of happened to me. I don't know if I said everything I wanted to say, but I'll end this video with answering if I think it's worth it to try out TikTok. I think it is, but I really encourage you to have a conversation with yourself beforehand about what your boundaries are going to look like, about how you're going to feel if you get 20 views on a TikTok, how you're going to feel if you get mean comments, what you're going to do about that. And try to have that conversation beforehand and try to build a foundation beforehand so that whatever ends up happening to you on TikTok, you'll be ready for, or you will be able to handle if there's disappointment. Because it's a big roll of the dice. TikTok kind of just decides who it wants to blow up, which is, it's easy to say from, you know, my end, but that's just the truth of how it works and how like every social media works. I mean, I still only have like 400 something followers on Twitter. Like I said, like I'll get like 10 likes on a tweet there. So, you know, and none of that has ever determined my self-worth. I know that sounds wild because for a lot of people, that's what they care about. But when I say this attention and following and support on TikTok and elsewhere, while I am really appreciative for it and really grateful for it, and I say that all the time, it has not made me any happier as a person or an artist. I was happy before, and I'm happy now. And like I said, this has all just been one big, wonderful bonus on top of how I already felt about myself and my work. And if you get anything from this video, I hope it's that you go on your own journey to unpacking where you're receiving your self-worth and validity as an artist from. And I'm really encouraging you to find that within yourself and to come from yourself, because the algorithm can one day decide that you're not the it person anymore, and you know, I could wake up tomorrow and never get over 1,000 views on my videos again, kind of thing, and what am I going to do with that? And that's why I think it's really, really important to find that self-love and find that passion and motivation from within yourself, because you want to be an artist and you just want to create. And I know that that's really hard, but it's not impossible. And I did it before I had a TikTok. I did it before I had any following or support. It can be done, and I really encourage you to think about that. And, you know, I want everyone to love their art the way I love mine, and it's not from like an ego thing. I don't think I'm this like amazing, great, skilled artist. I just love what I make. I love that it comes from me. I love my style. I love the imperfections. I have fun, and I want that for everyone. You know, I'm not coming on here to encourage you to find TikTok fame. I want you to encourage you to find peace and love within your soul, kind of thing. I'm like kind of hippie about that stuff, but that's kind of what I encourage out of this video. And this has kind of been my story. There's good, there's bad, there's ugly. It's been a wild ride. It's still going. Anything could happen. Like I said, meeting people at conventions is like a childhood dream come true. So it's been, I would say 90% good, maybe 80% good. And I only say 80 because of that, you know, this wasn't something I was trying to get. And, you know, it's like, okay, now how do I sustain something that I wasn't trying to have in the first place? And sometimes that can trip me up. Sometimes I can fall into those bad habits of looking at the views and stuff. I'm not perfect. You know, it's a constant rewiring of your brain to not fall into that trap. But I'm glad I was in the place I was in when it all happened. And who knows where it's gonna go. I have some comics planned. I want to fall back and finally work on these comics and stuff. I would say if you have a small business or you're an artist, just give it a chance, but have those boundaries in place first so that you can not be discouraged or overwhelmed, whatever ends up happening. So if you listen this far, thank you. Thank you for being here. If you've been here all year or you're new or you're from TikTok, your support has been unreal and I am really grateful for it. And I'm glad you're here. And I'm excited to work on new stuff. So yeah, that's going to be it for this video. It's been long enough. If you have any questions about TikTok or anything like that, you can ask me. But yeah, I'm gonna head off now. So thank you so much for watching. And I am cutting this painting short because I didn't kind of like how some of the footage came out at the end. But this is a piece from last year because I had this intention of becoming a YouTuber, you know what I mean? And then TikTok happened and I kind of had to not make a YouTube video for a year. So